Yeah. Hey. All right. Hey. Yeah, I mean.
So we about to take off.
Hey. Please do remain calm. About to run against it and with a little bit of soul, no times.
Welcome to Please Remain Calm. I'm Ben Gonzalez.
And I'm Daniel Gonzalez. As always, folks, the opinions expressed here on the Please Remain Calm podcast are our own. They do not reflect the opinions of the Los Angeles City Fire Department or the Los Angeles County Department of Health Services.
And with that being said, we're back. We had a hiatus because we've been busy as hell. I feel like we've started like all the last 3 episodes by saying this.
Hey, we're gonna be back, boys. We're on the regular. No, but for real this time.
Yeah. Trust us for the 4th time.
I feel like I haven't even really seen you since the last time we recorded.
I know, man. That's like we barely even talk anymore. You look good, dude. The last time we did the show, I think you were given the crazy. Did you tell the pool story, right?
Yeah.
The saga of your swimming pool?
Oh, yeah, I think so, yeah.
Yeah. So where are we at with that?
It's done.
Dude? The pool is done.
Yeah, the pool's done. I'm actually pretty shocked and amazed at how well it all turned out, considering the entire saga of
it was a saga, dude. If you want to give a quick recap,
well,
now we also have a lot of new listeners too.
We just started back in July of last year is when I signed the contract with the pool contractor, and then just all kinds of shit happened, man. The contractor's license expired, so that put a pause on it for 2 weeks. There was a whole fiasco with getting the hole dug.
The hole. That's right.
Yeah, I hired some outside guys to dig the hole, and they showed up with shovels.
Yeah, shovels.
Trying to dig the hole. That took 6 weeks. It should have taken 2 days.
You had a chain gang working.
And then it rained.
They were singing songs.
And then it rained for 4 months straight.
Once the hole was done.
And didn't stop raining. So it filled up like a pond, and then all the walls collapsed. So we had to get people back, take the rebar back out, dig the hole back out, all that stuff. So
all the rebar had to get taken back out again?
Most of it had to get taken out so they could dig
because
when they lay the rebar, they put it on top of these little blocks, right? So it's floating in the center of the concrete when it's poured, Well, the rebar was already sitting there 2 inches off the bottom, and then all the dirt collapsed onto it. So they have to dig back out another 2 inches below the rebar again,
Yeah.
So to come take all the rebar out, dig it back out. It was a fucking nightmare, but it all got done. Everything's done. It's full of water. And then we're all excited, right? Because it was like the 1st of July when they filled it, when we filled it up with water.
Yeah.
So we're like, fuck yeah, man. We're just in time for 4th of July.
Yeah.
But you can't swim in it. There's a whole startup process, I guess, for the chemicals.
The chemicals to mix
and running the system, and they have to clean the plaster and vacuum it a few times and stuff like that.
How long does that take?
5 days. So today is the last day of the 5 days, but we just missed the 4th of July. So tomorrow's the first day we can actually get in the pool.
Okay.
Yeah, but there's so much to doing a pool. I'm telling you, man, if you guys are thinking about putting a pool in or doing it, it's a fucking nightmare. Make sure you research it all real well so you know what to expect, what should be being done, how long shit should take, all that stuff, and make sure you have a good contractor, because the guy wound up being really good. He didn't charge us extra for the shit that happened. But I will say this, man, every little thing with the pool adds up. When he's like, hey, do you want these fucking lights that light up, or do you want the really lighty lights that light up? Dude, I want the fucking lighty lights, That's an extra $1,000.
Yeah. You have the Bellagio fountain show out of your pool.
Yeah,
and
dude,
shit.
seriously, you want these extra little water? Yeah, 2 little water things that squirt and look pretty? Yeah, I'll give it. There's another $1,000,
Yeah.
Hey, do you want a separate heater for your spa and your pool? Yeah, there's anher $5,000. You know what I mean?
You have the angel statues that squirt the water out.
Yeah, he's like
one is you and one is your wife.
Yeah, just research that shit real well. Make sure you have a good contractor. Make sure they have good references or somebody's used them before. Because this could have gone really bad if the contractor was a dick or you know what I mean, was untrustworthy or just a bad dude. It could have gone way south, way easy. But he just plugged along with us and stuff like that. Really good.
Yeah. And then if it does go south, you just have just a giant hole in your yard.
Yeah, exactly.
You have to do something with this hole.
Yeah, whatever, man. Skate in it or something. But Right Image Builders, if you guys are in LA, Right Image Pool Builders, he's really good. So, yeah.
I used to judge people that had above ground pools.
Yeah.
And now I'm like looking at that differently.
Yeah,
like, these fools are smart.
It's a fucking pool.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's still a pool. You know, you're still swimming.
Shit goes south. You water your lawn.
Take her down. It's a tree house now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like before all this started, I had a vision of like what the house and like, you know what I mean? Because we added the bathroom and we expanded the garage and all that stuff. Like I envisioned how I wanted everything to be, and it's exactly like I envisioned. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like
now it's all come together.
It's all come together. I'm like sitting back. I'm like, oh fuck, man, this is fucking nice. This is cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, so that's also part of why we haven't been in here, because as you can hear, Danny did a whole flipped his own house.
Well, we just, you know, we talk about it all the time. We got a lot of stuff going on outside of this, and then the boys both made All-Stars, which, dude, my hat's off to like Carlos for taking Tiago, all the baseball he does, or like travel ball families and stuff like that. It's fuck, man, so much to both kids being full time in baseball. You know what I mean? Like with All-Stars, it was like every day was practice, and Max had practice here, Easy had practice here. So, dude, that felt like it ate up.
I know. Carlos was driving all over the state.
Oh, dude, they're all over
out of
the
town.
place.
They're going to Hawaii, all this stuff. Yeah,
they're going to Hawaii next week.
Yeah, I know. But then that's how Dad was with Carlos.
Yeah.
Same kind of thing, dude.
Yeah,
so,
it's crazy.
Hey, who knows? Shout out to Carlos. So, yeah, that's the other thing, too. You redid your garage. You got like the gym in there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Now the pool is here. It was pool season. One of my other buddies just moved and got a pool house. I got pool options this summer. You know what I'm saying? I'm in there, dude. So anticipating this is all coming up, we were like, yeah, we got to get the pool bodies ready. You know what I'm saying? Get on the fitness kick and everything. So that's been like a whole thing now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And also, like, we're both over 40. And this is like a lot of things like for, you know, people on the job as well. Like, you've got to stay in shape.
Yeah.
But you get jacked up more. You've also got to like protect yourself against injury more.
Well, you know first of all, let me say that like getting into my mid 40s fucking snuck up on me, dude. Like that shit seems like it happened.
And
fast.
it's a real thing too, where it's like you just feel like different.
Well,
like just different than before. Like, damn,
dude, I've been hearing
people happen to me.
I've been hearing people talk on the fire department, because just like you said, it's a physical job. It's a job requirement to stay physically fit.
Yeah.
Not everybody meets that job requirement. Like in Dad's day, they had the Fat Man's Club. You know what I mean? You got evaluated, and if you were too fucking fat, they put you on a program.
Yeah.
You know? And so I used to hear about that shit from like the older firemen when I was younger coming up, you know, hey, damn, like, you know, after fire, we go to Tommy's or something like that and get a big ass Tommy burger and scarfing that shit down with some chili fries and stuff, right? And then be like, oh, I can't eat like that anymore. You know, I eat one carb, man, and you can see it once you hit your 40s and you're like, okay, whatever, old timer.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, dude, that shit just happens. And I consider myself to be in good shape. Like I've never really stopped. I've had periods of time where I didn't work out for, you know, a few months, 6 months or something like that. I didn't work out and start getting fat. I'm like, oh dude, fuck this. So for me, you know, pretty much staying in shape and trying to eat decently. Yeah. To notice like, damn, it's harder to keep weight off. Damn, my body, I'm not recovering the same as I was.
Yeah. And you did it the whole time. Like when we were like teenagers, this fool worked at like Bally's Total Fitness.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like he was trying to be a trainer, like since we were kids.
Yeah.
We had an uncle that played football. That was like our homie uncle. And I remember he lived with us for a while, and he had weights and everything. Yeah. Oh yeah, and Dad had a set. Yeah, that's right. He had like a weeder set.
Dad would get out, and I remember Dad always stayed fairly fit.
Dad was jacked when we were little.
Until his last like 7 years on the job. When he stopped. That was the 6-7 years on the job is when he stopped working out. And he started getting his bonsai and shit, right? Yeah. But for the most part, I always remember Dad jogging and stuff. Like I remember going and riding my bike with him while he jogged, and stuff like that. But
it was Nando was the first dude that I remember like lifting weights and like getting big and like showing you how to like lift weights and shit. So I think that was like 9th grade or so. Yeah. So you stayed with that path and I did not. You know what I mean? And I wasted like the 20s and 30s, like the good years, like just getting fat, dude.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It wasn't until I was like,
I mean,
later 30s, closer to 40s, like, well, man, I got to start trying to lose weight.
Yeah.
Because I was like 80 pounds heavier.
Because when you're young, man, it's just like I was saying before, you don't feel that shit really.
Yeah.
You get pleasure out of, whatever good foods you're eating, and
you don't care.
And life happens in excess when you're young like that, right? Well, whatever it is, man.
Yeah.
Alcohol, drugs,
100%.
sex, all that stuff.
Yeah.
You can go
and
in
food
excess
too. You just eat whatever, whenever,
and you wake up in the morning
matter.
and it's not a big deal. You take a big shit and you're good to go. You know what I mean? Or same thing with like alcohol and stuff, right? Like I would never get hangovers ever when I was younger. I'd have a whole night of like partying and then wake up in the morning and go for a run or go to the gym or something like that, right? And dude, if I have like 2 cocktails now, I'm in the morning, dude, I'm a fucking mess these days, right? It's part of the reason why I hardly ever drink anymore.
Yeah.
But
I'm like that, not sleeping enough too.
Oh yeah,
you know what
dude,
I mean? Like anything like that now, it all affects me, dude.
Yeah.
Daylight savings time, or wound up having to be on a later show, like 10 o'clock, right?
Yeah.
And we wound up staying out and going to eat like after and hanging out. But then the clock changes, then I had to get up in the morning.
Yeah.
So I wound up only sleeping like 2.5 hours. That was like a Saturday night. I felt it till Wednesday.
Yeah, dude.
Like I'm like, like dead, bro. You know
I mean, that sleep and stuff for me is a little bit different because like I live in like this constant state of like I could take a nap at any moment.
Yeah.
But I will say that I feel it more when I have a shitty night at work now than I did in the past, right?
Yeah.
Just in general, dude. Like for younger guys and girls that are listening right now, when you hear that shit from people in their 40s and their 50s, like it's not that easy. It's not going to be as easy when you're in 40. That shit is real. Mm-hmm. That shit is really real. And for me, and it might be part of just like being a firefighter medic and like seeing people, people call 911 because they're having a medical emergency or whatever, and seeing people that are my age or 45 or 50 or 60 even that are either on their deathbed or are just like crazy unhealthy or look like they're fucking 80, 90 years old.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And, or separate from that, just the past like 5 years or so, watching Wello get affected by his,
of course,
illnesses and stuff and passing away. Grandma, being affected by her stuff and being old and passing away. My father-in-law, Robert, getting sick,
thing. Yeah.
Watching him for a year, passing away, watching those things happen to these older people in my life. It gave me this like, and then there's other things that have happened in my life that make me feel a connection to like, to this path that I'm on. Right. But it really made me feel like I want to be a healthy old man. I want to be an old man that can still touch his toes, that has some sort of muscle tone, can do 25 push-ups and not be struggling.
Can still talk to you and be funny and stuff.
Maybe skip. Or jump off a curb or something like that. You know what I mean?
But you touched on a good thing there. Seeing people our age now, like patience, and seeing what happens to people, dude. Because that's the whole thing. Like I come across cases every day where it's like, you got all this, like, oh, this guy's 42. Yeah, like I'm older than this guy, and it's like. Yeah, like that's not a thing that registers with you when you're younger, but then after you hit like you're getting to your 40s, it's like, yo, I could kind of die.
Oh yeah, dude.
Like you could have a heart attack, you could have a stroke. Like you like literally do have to take care of yourself because now it's like you don't think like your life depends on it before, but now it's like
the craziest shit for me is the homeless that I meet that are my age or like right around my age, because usually hand in hand with homelessness is drug abuse, alcoholism, something like that, right? And so, and I've had my history. We've had episodes in the past talking about, my past issues with substance abuse and stuff. And so I'll meet people, dude, that like, I always ask homeless people, where are you from? When we're driving to the hospital, where are you from, man? How'd you wind up how long you been on the street? How'd you wind up on the street? I try to get their stories a little bit. Right. And so I'll meet people that are like my fucking age. Where are you from? I'm from right here in Venice. Oh shit. Did you go to Venice High? Yeah. Oh fuck. Did you graduate? No, I didn't graduate. What year were you there? In 94. Fuck. I was there in 90. You know what I mean? I graduated in 97.
Yeah.
Like, oh damn, do you know such and such? Yeah, I know such and such. And you're just like, damn, we were the same fucking person. Grew up in Venice.
Like, wait, I remember you.
Yeah, it's just like it's like not a lot of people can get such a clear vision of where your life could have turned had you zigged and not zagged.
Yeah.
You know, or had you not make the right decision, continue down this shitty path that I was on. You know what I mean?
Exactly. And that's another thing that we're going to get into. Because you're talking about like the path that you're on, what triggers us to change this? Because it's the same thing with me, man. I was like fat as shit before. I mean, it's like 270.
Yeah,
like the heaviest.
Big.
Yeah,
that's big.
And like I was pre-diabetic. The doctor told me like your A1C is like super high. Like you got to like make changes in your life and everything.
Yeah,
and it still took long to get from there to here. And I don't think that I'm like. I always kind of like reset, like taking it, seriously. And I've been doing that, lately and trying to be like on that path more and looking at it like that. Like you're kind of racing against the clock now with people thinking that we look younger than we are. You know what I mean? It's almost like Cinderella. Like because people tell me that like, oh, you're 44, dude. Like, like 44, like you look good for 44. I'm like, yeah, dude, but I'm still 44. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like at any minute, I'm going to look 50.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Or look 60. So it's like, you got to make a transition. Like I'm going to try to become a hot old man. Basically, I just feel like look like RFK.
Yeah. I feel like our bodies, whether it's mentally or physically, adapt to whatever we give it. Right. So like I've always loved this thing that Joe Rogan says fairly often, and I'm not big on quoting Rogan lately either. But
I just hit up RFK, dude. But we're taking a turn to the right now.
But you can't let your body know you're getting old. That's just it. And it goes for learning shit too, right? Like I always really enjoy trying new shit and just seeing if I like it. And sometimes I suck at shit and I don't enjoy doing it. And it's like, okay, fuck, I'm not going to fuck with that anymore. But sometimes like the drawing thing, right? Like I never drew anything in my life. I was like screwing around with the boys and like, oh, this is kind of cool. Oh, that came out cool. That felt good creating this thing and it looks cool. Let me feed that a little bit. Let me practice. And if you like look at my Instagram, like my first like 5 drawings, they pretty much suck. I mean, they're like decent for like an 8-year-old or whatever, right? Like, but they pretty much suck, but they slowly get better. It's the same thing with like fucking anything, dude.
Yeah.
And when you're a kid and like Max is in piano lessons right now, right? He wanted to play piano. Okay, let's go. And he came back and he was practicing. He fucking sucked. And it was like, okay. And he just kept practicing. And next week he goes back and next week. And he's fucking good. Like I hear him in there practicing like, holy shit, I'll go peek to see if it's like a pre-record on the keyboard or something like that. And he's in there. Dun, 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 dun. I'm like, holy shit, man, Amadeus.
Yeah.
And it's really because you're not scared to suck at shit, really, when you're a kid. You just, there's a general understanding that you're learning everything. And now the other kids that are in there are learning with you. So it's a lot easier to suck at it and not feel like you're the only one sucking at it. And then you slowly get better over time. The shit that you stick with, pick it, whatever the fuck it is, baseball, music, fucking art, whatever. When you meet somebody that's great at something, it's like, well, how long have you been doing it? Oh, I've been doing it my whole life, or every baseball player in the pros. I've been playing since I was 4, and that's how you go about things. When you get older as an adult, you don't want to suck at shit. You don't want to be the adult in the piano class at the recital with a bunch of 8-year-olds and you're playing at the same level, right? You're conditioned to not want to look dumber or childish around other adults.
Yeah.
And so you don't want to suck at shit.
Yeah.
And so you stop trying new stuff and you get stuck in this rut with the shit that you've always done. And you don't expand your brain. You don't create this like constant need for growing and changing and learning things and stuff like that. Dude. And I think that's what makes you age.
You're right. That's a whole thing. It's like a Zen philosophy thing. It's called a beginner's mind. Like the beginner's mind is empty. You can fill it with knowledge, new things or whatever, because you're open to trying new things and you're not, afraid. The expert's mind is already full and doesn't have room for anything. So there's like some adage where it's like a student wants to be taught by this Zen master, and he goes to him, he tells him, what a great student he is and all these masters he's already learned from and everything. And the master looks at him and he says, he offers him a cup of tea, and he's like, all right, I'll take the tea. So he pours the tea, and he just fills the tea and doesn't stop pouring. It spills all over the place. And he tells him, you're already full of yourself. What are you going to learn? Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like the same kind of thing. And that's what they said about like Kobe and like Michael Jordan. Like these guys always had beginner's mind. They were always willing to try new stuff. Nothing was ever set in stone for them. They were trying to be, fluid and adapt all the time. And that's why they were so good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. It's the same kind of thing, because it does prevent you from aging. It's the whole thing, like staying fluid. Yeah. Staying in motion. You know what I
mean? The other thing that I'm like appreciative of my job for is, just like I said earlier, the multitude of like conversations and stories that I hear from the people that I meet every day. Right. So like, let's say we average 12 runs a shift at 63s, right? 6 of those might be people that actually have a conversation with me or in a position to like chit chat throughout, right? That's 6. And like I talked about earlier, like we're all on a path, right? Our path is dictated by the choices we make. We are the sum of our choices, right? Throughout our life.
Right.
You can always, that's why you like a lot of times you'll think back like, fuck, how did I get here, man? How did this happen? And it's just like the craziest of circumstances that led you to this position.
Talking heads. Yeah.
And I try to keep that in mind a lot. Also, is like just as complex and full of choices and shit as my life has been, so is yours, so is Mark's, so is the people I'm walking past on the street that are completely insignificant to me. But their lives are just as complex as mine. Their lives are just as full of choices as mine, as full of conflict and love and happiness and fear and all that stuff as mine. Yeah. I have no idea what they've gone through to get to this corner that we're passing each other on. Yeah. Right.
Or if you'll interact, or if it'll affect each other.
Right. Yeah. Who the fuck knows?
Exactly.
And so when I deal with people, especially with difficult people, right? Somebody who even I would go, man, that guy's a fucking asshole. There's always the thought in the back of my mind of, damn, I wonder what happened to that fool that put him in this position where he feels like he needs to be like this.
Right.
Damn, how much do people have had to shit on you throughout your entire life for you to hate everybody? You know what I mean? How often has people that were supposed to help you hurt you to where you're talking shit to me and I just fucking saved your life? You know what I mean? That type of thing.
Yeah.
So when I get people that are super difficult like that, like I always kind of try to go back to that in my mind. Like, all right, dude. All right, you're a dick. I can remember when I was a dick at times in my life, and it was usually the lowest points of my life, you know, where everything was going wrong. And it's like, okay.
And you can remember how you would have been reactive to this situation back then.
Totally.
The situation you're in. And you're like, I can step back now and look at this.
Totally. Especially people that are like done some, that are OD or like have done something. And now there's like the police involvement and, the fire. That's why it always bugs me when like we'll have ODs or something and like an older, we had an engineer that used to do this all the time. Older guy, he's about ready to retire, salty. And he would always just like be cracking jokes on the patient, or like undercover talking shit, you know what I mean? Yeah. From like the back doors.
Right.
And like, like to me, it's like, especially with ODs, like, I've never OD'd, but I know what doing too much feels like, you know what I mean? And it's like this shitty feeling and this feeling of like worthlessness and at least for me it was. And so I project that onto people, you know what I mean? I guess when that happens, who knows? Maybe he doesn't give a fuck and it's his 10th OD, I don't know. But I always try to keep that shit in my head, man. It always pissed me off when he would do shit like that. I'd be like, hey man, close the fucking doors. The fuck, you're not helping anything. Yeah. If at the very least, you're just like pissing off my partner. It's going to make him close up and I'm not going to be able to create a rapport or try to get information or whatever the fuck, But, But
yeah, also people are wrong too. Like remember we had Chris Cope on. He was talking about having his AAA.
Yeah,
it was an aneurysm, and the first cop that came thought he OD'd.
Yeah.
And he was like convinced, you're doing coke. Where's your drugs? Where's your drugs?
Yeah,
like this was fucking dying of aneurysm.
And then that happens too. Like on this job, I can remember like when I was working at Nines, right? It was just like every day ODs.
Right.
And this one day I was driving home up Crenshaw, and I come up the hill past Florence, and there's an accident, and it looks like it's like 2 blocks long. Shit all over the street, people in the street, and there's a car into a parked car.
Yeah.
And so I pull the car over. I'm like 2 years on the job, something like that. And I run up to the car, and there's a guy in the front, in the driver's seat. Airbags had deployed. And I'm like, what happened? You know, and people are like, he just hit a bunch of parked cars and he crashed right here. And the guy's sweaty and he's like out of it. And I look, and his pupils are small, right? It's sunny outside. His pupils are small. I give him a mean trap pinch, and he kind of goes like that. And I'm like, all right. And the lady's like, you're hurting him. And I'm like, no, I'm trying to see if he's awake, you know, but I was acting as if and treating him as if he was an OD.
Yeah.
He was a heroin OD, because that's all I went on every day.
Yeah, right.
You know, and then the medics show up, and so I kind of like give a report, you know, what I found on him, all this stuff, and I'm kind of hanging out right there, and sugar was low. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I just like, nobody knows this or anything. I didn't say anything to anybody, but I just immediate feeling of like, oh my God, dude, like what? And I didn't treat the guy really any different. It was just in my head. I was like, this guy's a piece of shit.
Yeah.
You know, the whole time I'm there, whether I was projecting it or not, my attitude was like, this guy's a piece of shit. He could have hit people and shit like that because he's high, you know, like what a piece of shit. And even my report was like this, you know, I didn't say it, but it was like, hey, this piece of shit right here is probably high, you know, he got whatever. And then his sugar was low. And it was like, fuck, man. And that was like one of the first times, because it's hard to have, it's really, especially back then when I was that young, it's hard to have compassion for the people that you're running on in Nines, right? Because just everybody's out there, everybody.
Right.
And so that was like the first time, like I can pinpoint these periods of time in my career where I've been like little turning points or choice making points. And that was like the first time that I was like, oh, fuck, you know, damn, you shouldn't do that, dude. You shouldn't just judge people on how they're presenting. Like, let's get through everything and figure out what the fuck's going on before you know, put that on somebody.
And you never did again.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we were talking about how you cross paths with people. You never know what's going to change for you. We've had people on the show where you've crossed paths with them and changed their life, and they come back and they're, you know, a different person.
Yeah.
So, you know, we've been talking about that, like, you know, a lot lately. Yeah, there's like possibilities for you out there. I read a book about it. I think you read a book about it. There was a movie about it, like multiverse stuff.
Yeah.
So we know that we can go through life like this and, you know, meet different people, affect them differently. And the choices that we do or don't make, you know, they lead to different places. And sometimes, like you said, like with patients or whoever you connect with, you get a chance to see like, damn, I could have been this.
Yeah.
Or I was you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's vice versa to them. Like they could, you might have changed them from then on. And now they see like, oh shit, I could be different.
Yeah.
You know?
You never know, dude.
Yeah.
You never know. And I'll say this, dude, like when I look back at my life, right? I'm 43. I'll be 44 in October. I feel like I've been like 4 different people. Like I've had 4 like fully different personalities and shit over time, right? And when I think back and reflect on my life, I feel like in those periods of time, like there were like signs put in front of me on which path I should take. And in hindsight, I feel like I made really distinct decisions at certain points. And a lot of times I didn't follow the natural inclination to go left, and I went right instead because there was something dangling over here, right? It wasn't until like that I gave sobriety a chance and really like started like learning more about mindfulness and stuff like that, right?
Right.
That I started paying a lot more attention to the little signs that were happening to me in my life.
Synchronicities, dude.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. you know, whatever the fuck it is, man. Hey, should I go? Should I go here and do this? It's a whole
thing, though.
Yeah. Should I go here and do this? And the light turns red right when I think that. You know, okay, fuck. All right, maybe I won't go do. You know what I mean? That type of shit.
Yeah.
And since I've been doing that, obviously I don't always make the right decisions. My life isn't fucking, you know, a fairy tale or anything like that. But damn, if my life took a different trajectory.
Yeah.
You know,
and things go better and work out better.
Yeah.
And you probably try more challenging things too since then, or look to challenge yourself more, do a little bit more things that you're afraid of that you wouldn't have done before.
Yes.
And then it keeps paying you back.
Yes, definitely. Yeah. Definitely.
So that's the thing I've been learning, like when we're on this whole like self-improvement kick and stuff, reading more. I read this book about that like it's a physicist wrote it that just explains that like that's like really like through physics, like how like the universe works.
Yeah.
And life continually gives you challenges, opportunities to just make a good choice and level up from that choice. And if, well, depending on what you choose, you know, the path is already laid out for you, but it's just about choosing whatever comes to you. And you know what I mean? If you're trying to force things, you're going to work against what could work for you. Right.
Yeah.
So then that led me to read this guy's other book, which is about like flow state, like, you know, mindfulness and flow state, where that's exactly how you're living. Is you're only adapting and going with whatever the flow is and whatever is happening to you, but you choose right and correctly and everything works all the time.
Yeah.
And we've seen that happen with people who are like really successful. Like this is how they operate. And like, you know, we were talking about Kobe and Michael Jordan before. It's the same kind of thing. When you're out there and you're operating at a high level, you're not really forcing anything ever. You're kind of open, empty, letting things come to you and going with it, but you're operating at a high level, so you're making the right choices all the time.
Yeah.
And I thought about how that pertains to like us and our jobs, because there's not a lot of jobs where like you do have to do that, but firefighting is definitely one where you do have to operate at a high level and kind of be in a flow state when you're on a fire ground.
Yeah, it's I mean, there's definitely a lot of muscle memory and feeling when you're in a fire. I mean, you gotta also remember, dude, like when we're really working at a fire, we're working in the dark. Yeah. I mean, you're going to these buildings that are completely filled with smoke, and when I say you can't on a good ripping fire where the roof team is still trying to, you know, get a hole above the fire and stuff like that. Or maybe you have a multi-story and you're on the first floor and ventilation's not really doing much. It's scary. It's super scary. And you can't see your hand in front of your face and you're doing everything by feel and by touch. You're listening to the sound of crackles, you know, you're feeling where you're feeling heat coming from. You're listening to the radio chatter. You're listening to your buddies. You're looking to see, you know, make sure that his foot's right in front of you as you guys are, you know, crawling through and trying to find.
So it's like what you're describing. You have to use every sense, be completely attuned to every sense. You can't have like other shit in your mind, even the fear. Yeah. The fear is there because it's also helping you like stay alert and everything. Yeah. But like, you're not going to be thinking about, you know, shit that happened last week.
Oh no, you know definitely not. Yeah. and then things will get like Dad tells stories about times that he's been in fires and just had a thought to himself like, hey, you need to get the fuck out of here. You know, this spot, and you know, move over, and a AC unit falls through from the floor above. Yeah. You hear about shit like that happening a lot. Yeah. A lot.
Or a guy just grabs a buddy and just pushes him to the side.
Oh yeah, dude.
And then
totally. And you know, how much of that is just being in sync with what's happening? How much of that is experience and knowing what the sound of a beam cracking sounds like? You know, who the fuck knows, man?
But people like study it, man. Like it's a whole thing to it, dude. And there's not other situations or not a lot of situations in your life where you're like that, where you have to, all your capabilities, you're using them at the same time and being alert and attuned to all of them. But it's also because you'll fucking die. If you don't, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's
but it's also like you have to make like a series of decisions all the time too. Like the entire thing is just choices over and over and over.
I mean, and that's another thing about being on a fire ground too, man, is like everybody knows their job and that shit happens fast. Like I think I told the story about my first fire. and we pull up and it's fucking ripping, and I jumped out and I threw my breather on and I looked and everybody was gone.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh shit, you know, fuck, all right, let's go, you know, and got moving. And yeah, it's firegrounds are like that, man. And just the same as we were talking about before, decisions that you make affect how everything is going to go.
Yeah.
Right.
And it goes back to like, even like how you started your day.
Yeah.
When you're working, you know what I mean? Like how you prepared, how you worked out, what did you eat?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? All that stuff is.
Did you go out the night before?
Yeah.
Did you drink the night before? You know, how ready were you at 6:31 when you got to work? You know, because that's when a lot of fires happen too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know, man. As I'm getting older, and you read more about mindfulness, you read more about like physics and you know, a holographic universe and a multiverse, the many worlds theory, all that stuff, right? You if you really like lend yourself to like accepting all those theories and really understanding what they're saying and what they're coming from, you realize that like, and Carlos is gonna laugh if he listens to this, but like time it's an illusion, man. Time isn't fucking, time is a construct that we build up. You know what I mean? It's all that you have is right now. That's it. If you want your future to be better, you have to do something about it right now in this moment. You can plan all you want for the future, but until you do the thing that you're planning, nothing is ever going to fucking change.
Right.
So I guess at growing older and growing as a person, that's the thing that I've most become in tune with. Number one is that my ultimate goal in life is happiness.
Yeah.
To me, everything breaks down to, at its most basic form, happiness and fear. Right? I just want to be happy.
Right.
Sometimes happy to me is just laying in the fucking bed and not doing shit and watching, you know, Big Bang Theory or something like that, you know? And sometimes it's, you know, busting my ass at a class to learn something, you know, about rope systems and so that I'm better at my job. I'm happy doing that at this point. Yeah. I'm just always like seeking happiness. And I feel like.
But also, that's what you were doing before. You were just going about it a different way.
No, I just didn't fully understand what real happiness was. See, like drugs and alcohol, man, is like it's a fake happiness. Yeah. You know what I mean? Overeating is a fake happiness.
But that's always the like everybody's same desire is always the same base desire. It's just how do you go about it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. You know, cocaine's not real energy. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like pornography is not real love. As we do
this podcast in a studio sponsored by cannabis companies.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, but at least that's you know, something from nature that can help you get in tune. Like,
but I'm saying like it just all comes down to the same thing, man. Just people want to feel better. No matter what. That's like the base desire of everyone. People just want to feel good and feel happy. And ultimately it just comes down to happiness. Pleasure lends itself to happiness, right? Everything. And fear. Everything you hate, everything you despise, everything is not really because that thing, you know, has done anything to you or affects your life in any way whatsoever. It's just you have a fear of it because you don't understand it and that makes you lash out. It all boils down to happiness and fear. And I feel like when I live my life in a manner where I'm not only looking after my happiness, but like looking out for the people around me's happiness and helping them get to their happiness. Because that's really when I feel most happy, dude. Right.
When I'm giving to others, and I know this sounds fucking corny as fuck, but when I help somebody else be happy, that shit makes me happy. I enjoy that. Right.
Yeah.
Like Christmas and stuff. I don't really get a kick out of getting anything from anybody for Christmas or for a birthday or something like that, right? Yeah. Like anything that I want, I buy, you know what I mean? Like I get for myself. But I get a kick out of getting something good for the people that I care about and watching them open it and be happy about it, right? That's what makes me happy.
Yeah.
So when I live that way, dude, and this is my take on religion. When I get in that I'm like in that state of like happiness and seeking happiness for others and trying to provide it for others and stuff like that, right? I feel like I get in tune with like this positive energy on the planet, right? Yeah. And like I feel like the wind is at my back, all the breaks go my way. Even things that should bug me don't really bug me. Yeah. Everything just feels like life is just flowing well, right? Mm-hmm. And when I get away from that, when I stop working out, when I start drinking again, you know, I have a few drinks, you know, 3 days out of the week. When I'm arguing with my wife over dumb shit, when I'm not taking the boys out to you know, the batting cages or something like that because I'm tired and I just fucking don't want to or whatever. That's when it seems like the breaks don't go my way. Yeah. And everything is harder. Yeah. And shit, it's harder to get out there and exercise. Yeah. It's harder to be happy for people. It's harder to get in and do a podcast and be personable and shit. You know what I mean? It's harder to do that shit. Yeah. That's why I feel like people get in tune with religion so much, because I feel like let's say I'm into visualization, right? Visualizing my life the way I want it to be and stuff like that. Manifest. Yeah. I feel like I'm in total control of my destiny and stuff like that, right? And really, what is church other than a bunch of people that have this true belief in visualization and in the power of prayer?
Well, I mean, that's what prayer is too. It's just people trying to meditate.
It's a collective meditation.
A little bit, yeah.
It's a collective meditation to a certain degree, right? Down, yeah. And so if you have a whole group of people that are, when I say I feel like I'm in tune with a positive flow energy, if I'm feeling that and it's happened collectively, like I can understand why people can feel like the power of God in them when they're in the middle of a
welcome to Please Remain Church
of a service. Yeah. And I've never really been to like a Muslim service or really like a whole bunch of other religions or anything, but I would imagine that it's a collective. That feeling probably resonates through all these religions, right? And when you look at like the origin stories of a lot of different religions, a lot of them are really, really, really similar anyways, right? So it's like, where did this divulge into these different sects of probably what was the original sense of human beings wanting to feel this positive flow state, right? Talking about flow states. Right. So yeah, man, that's ultimately that's what it's led me to. It's led me to be fucking happy. Try to avoid being fearful of things. Be curious instead of being fearful. There's a Ted Lasso clip going around like TikTok and shit where he talks about that. Yeah. Be curious. Don't be fearful. Right. You know, I don't understand this person's religion. Well, what's it all about? Well, tell me about it. You know, seek. You know what? You know, whatever the fuck. Yeah. And understand that time is a construct. All the shit you're worried about that you did in the past, you can literally just cut that off and let it die, and it wouldn't affect anything in the entire world. It's gone. It's fucking gone. You can stop it right now and completely start everything over from point A and be a completely different person if you wanted to.
Exactly.
And everything in the future that you have anxiety about, there's no point in having anxiety. The only thing that's going to get you to what you need in the future is what the fuck you're doing right now.
Yeah, your choices now. You're dictating that. And the choices now can also kind of bend what the past was for you. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because your past events lead into this. Like everything's connected.
It's all about...
That's why it's everything everywhere. All at once.
Well, it is, man. And then you know, there's different theories too, man, that like, you know, you hear about like dimensions being like sheets of paper, you know, stacked on top of each other, and that our choices are what allow us to flow between dimensions and shit. There's theories like that too, right? And when you first read this shit, man, like mom got me the book, The Holographic Universe when I was like 14. Yeah. Right? And this is like a fucking legit like physics book. And I was like, I started reading it. At first, I thought she made a mistake. I was like, what the fuck? Why did she give me this? Right. And so I started reading it and getting into it.
Hey, what the hell, mom? You never gave me that book. You didn't even tell me about it.
I might even still have it at the house.
Dude.
But yeah, it was like one of those books that like I'd read a page and be like, what the fuck did I just read? And go back and I'd read the same page like 4 times, 5 times to just like barely grasped like what the hell it was talking about. Mm-hmm. But it was like my first.
At least mom thought you could grasp it. Apparently I'm a dumbass.
It was my first like look into that world, you know, the potential of like what, like that got me out of this way that I think most people think they're locked into the constructs that society in general has built for us to follow. Wake up, go to work Monday through Friday, you know what I mean? Get party on the weekend because that's what you're working for, to party, you know what I mean? That type of shit. It's just like, that ain't the way that we as humans are supposed to be living our lives, you know? And I think the majority of people live that way, not just out of necessity. It's just the way shit is set up.
Right.
And until you like fully grasp your own understanding of how you can best, you know, get into this flow state or feel the fucking wind at your back and get in touch with this positive energy.
Right.
Because again, I'm just me with my choices and my understanding of anything. I can't possibly tell you to take a path when I don't understand what your path has been up to this point.
Right.
You know what I mean? I guess that's the best thing about this podcast for me, is just like putting our thoughts out there.
Yeah.
And letting people take
this
take
isn't
what
our
they can
thoughts
from
episode.
It. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let people take what they can from it.
Yeah. So that was the thing that struck me when I'm reading this and thinking about this, is like remembering writing out like to like a structure fire, or even like a call for structure fire. Everyone in the call, like you get the alarm right away, you have a task, you're getting ready, and then you're starting like your path of like decisions for what you're going to do. Everybody en route is like getting dialed in. Yeah. You know what I mean? Thinking about what they're going to do. What's this building? Do I remember this building? Where are we going to go? What's it going to look like? Then you get the size up. But the thing is that everybody's focusing.
Yeah.
And getting, you know, attuned to themselves. And then, like you said, once you make entry, you're inside, it's just all your senses and whatever you can pick up, and you're processing all the information from all your senses, making those decisions. And it's like, yeah, man, that's like the same shit as like being Tom Brady in the Super Bowl.
It's funny.
Think about it, dude.
It's funny because that is true.
Yeah, it's the same. It's the pressure, and you have to have the same level of like attunement, dude.
You can almost like see people's levels of experience on the way to a structure call too.
Right.
Right. Because like I believe it, dude. Yeah. There was a time when it was like, boom, structure. Oh, shoot. And everything was like, checking on my shit. And you were just like, psh.
Yeah.
You know, and then it's evolved. And even back then, you know, I'd be full sprint to the rig, get my shit on, jump in the back. And then my partner, the guy writing hydrant or nozzle, would get on with his bowl of, you know, dinner still. And he's just like fucking scarfing it down. We're listening to the radio. We're halfway there. You know, I'm like looking at the map and like
he's
trying to look out the window, smelling for smoke out the window, you know, listening for... And he's just like finishing his shit, puts his bowl down, you know, puts his shit on, like, lottie-dottie, you know? You know, and then you get to a fire and the guy performs. You've never seen the guy work out once. Yeah. Never seen the guy work out once, you know? He hardly says shit, you know, in drills or anything like that. But he's
a beast.
But he's a goddamn beast on the fireground. And he doesn't get tired. And, you know, when you're done with the fire and you're overhauling, you're just like, God damn, I'm tired. You know what I mean? And he's just still working his ass off. Or in the old days, you know, cigar in their mouth, you know, and you're just like, yeah, damn, man. And that's just, fuck, man. Maybe that's his flow state right there.
He got there, dude. Yeah. That's what I mean.
And you get there from, you know, what got you there? Years of experience. Years of understanding the fear.
Expertise.
Of understanding the fear, right? All that just turns into muscle memory, and you get into that fucking flow state
where he's calm enough where he can eat dinner on potentially the way to harm.
Or like with interns, we have an intern right now we just got, and it kind of sucks, and I apologize to the kid because he got there and like maybe 2 shifts later I went on vacation, so he'll be on like shift 10 or something like that when I get back, which kind of sucks, but like. It doesn't matter what the call is these days. I'm the guy with the bowl of dinner, right? It doesn't, half the time you get there and it's not even what it says it is on the screen. So I don't get really worked up about anything unless it's like a kid.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You get like a pediatric cardiac arrest or drowning or something like that. And then, okay, oh fuck. All right, let's go, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm not saying we take any longer or anything, but a heart rate doesn't get up for anything. Yeah, I like to get on scene, what happened and figure it out.
But it's also a flow state on these calls too, because maybe you're not as focused en route. You know what I mean? Because you don't know necessarily what it's going to be. But once you're there, you're picking everything up.
Yeah,
you know
it's a little bit different.
It's not the same as like fireground, like it's every sense.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But you're making all these decisions.
It's a lot more interpersonal conversations.
And
but like we have this intern and he's just like a fucking deer in the headlights, dude.
Yeah.
You know, everything is, he didn't really have a whole lot of like, 911 experience in the privates or anything like that. So everything is just like the first 2 shifts was just like, holy shit, you know, it was like a shock for him. And it's good for me too, man. Cause I remember being that, I remember being that kid, you know, on scene and not fully having a full grasp of everything yet, you know what I mean? And being super scared every single call that went out and running through all my list of questions and everything, you know, on the way to the call. And all that stuff. And it's just funny to see, dude. And I'm reminded of it with our rookies and our interns and stuff like that. Like one day these guys are going to find it. They're going to find their little flow that they have.
Yeah. And you'll catch them a few years later and they'll be good.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then that's another way that you're giving back and getting the wind at your back and everything is helping these guys.
Yeah. And just seeing like the cycle of things, right?
Yeah.
That's another great,
because you benefit from it too.
That's another great thing about getting a little bit older is like, I'm starting to see how shit is just cycles. It's like I can see dad becoming the grumpy old man, you know, who's like, is saying inappropriate shit and stuff like that. And like, doesn't understand the music and stuff. Right.
Yeah.
And like remembering how he used to be and how he is now. And then like seeing myself, and seeing how like I don't really get today's music either, right? But I'm still trying to listen to it.
I feel like we're still cool.
I feel like we are too. Yeah, I feel like we're cool enough. We're still in the cool spectrum. But you know, and like on the job, like seeing rookies and seeing young guys and seeing like the guys like Alex and the guys from Boyd Street that we interviewed and stuff, right? Like and watching them on their Instagrams and stuff, and like the boys trips and the, you know, the station stuff and being like, fuck, I remember. And now I'm like at a, you know, a little bit older station and times have changed. Everyone's got their devices and shit. So it's not like this, the same vibe as it was back then. And might go on to a more retirement station where everybody just has their own projects and does their own. And like, I can see this cycle happening.
You're watching it like that, like Jackie Chan clip where he's looking at his old movies.
It really kind of am, dude. Like,
I remember that.
It's just like, I just feel like, I feel like I've taken a step back from the rat race, and I can see it all happen. And I understand that I have to be in this race. I have to get the pellets, you know what I mean, to live life and have a happy life for my wife and kids and stuff. Yeah. And I'm participating in it, but I'm not blinded by the walls of the maze. I'm sitting on the wall of the maze and I'm just like kind of going along through the maze and doing what I need to do, but I'm sitting up there observing everything. Yeah. You know, just being happy on my own. And because you can't control, that's the other thing too, man. You can't control people. You can't force people to understand your understanding of things. Yeah. You just can't. Yeah. You just have to just go with the flow, man. Exactly. And if somebody gives you that, we talk about making choices. If you try to help somebody and they give you that roadblock, you have to let them go and let them be on the path. You know, Carlos tells a story about the time we were down in Mexico and me and him went on a snorkel, just me and him on this boat. Yeah. And the girl that was on the boat was like an indigenous, like from the mountains, fucking Mexican girl. Right. And, he was like having a conversation with her and she was like saying how she's like her family is like medicine people and stuff like that. Right. And she's from this tribe and all that stuff. And he asked her like, because that was when I was like at my bottom almost. Yeah. Hey, my brother's going through this, blah, blah, blah. What do you think? And she was like, sometimes you have to let people hit rock bottom. That was her advice to him. Yeah. You know? And then that's true, man. You cannot force people down a path that you think is best for them. They're going to make their own decisions and take their own path, and it's going to lead them wherever they're going to lead them. And sometimes the wrong path leads you back to the right path. Yeah. And you stay on that path stronger because of the negative path that you started on.
Right.
You know, we learn a lot more from our mistakes and our losses and shit, I think, than we learn from our victories.
Mm-hmm.
But
all right.
Yeah. All right. Cool.
Wrapping this up. Yeah. So we took a break and we came back and successfully changed this into a yoga, new age, mindfulness podcast, you guys.
I'm glad we smoked before this one.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I think we covered some good points here, though. What we really were aiming for was just like, because a lot of people that listen to this show are trying to get on the job or on the job, might be at different phases in their life on the job. And we want you to be able to realize that you can tap into this, you know, and feel good and how it applies to what you're actually doing at work, man.
Yeah. And not only that,
you're already doing it most likely.
But just try to open yourself up to understanding that life does give you signs and signals. And really what it is, I think, in my opinion, and what I've learned from myself is that I know what my right path. I have a sense, and I'm in tune with what my right path is supposed to be. Yeah. And there are things in this world that I have enjoyed in the past. There are memories of things that make me consider taking a different path. And it's my own understanding of where I should be going that puts these signs in front of me, or that allow me to actually see and interpret these signs that are put in front of me. So, and a lot of people call that a gut feeling, right? Follow your gut. If you are faced with a decision and your gut's telling you one thing, but your brain is like, follow your gut, man.
Yeah.
43, almost 44 years on this earth with a lot of different twists and turns in my life. I have learned that, fuck, man, if I had just followed my gut and my first instinct on what I should have done or what I knew was the right thing to do, I would be in 10 times the position that I'm in right now.
Yeah.
And when you first get on the fire department and you're making a bunch of money and you're working this crazy schedule and you're meeting a bunch of different people, a bunch of young people that are in the same position financially as you and stuff like that, not everybody is looking out for your best interest. They're on their own path. They're making their own decisions, and they might not be making the right decision either.
Right.
So to thine own self be true, man. Understand where you want to be in life. Follow that gut instinct. Follow the signs that the universe puts in front of you. Make the right decisions. And if you don't make the right decision, if you realize that, fuck, I've gone down the wrong path, no matter how far you have traveled in the wrong direction, you can always turn around.
Yeah.
That quote, man, I've thought about so many fucking times since I seeked out sobriety and stuff.
Right.
It's just, I have friends, close friends that I love that are a testament to this too. No matter how far you go in the wrong direction, you can always stop and turn around. Always, always, always. So just keep those two things in mind. Don't be fearful. Be curious. Strive for happiness. Spread happiness to others.
We'll be back again with people who got jacked up.
Yeah.
And had, crazy medical stories.
Oh, by the way.
You know what I'm saying?
By the way, like the podcast. Comment if you can. Yeah, tell people about the podcast.
More episodes again.
We are making an effort to get back in here a lot more. So, with podcasts,
we're not letting it die.
There's there's momentum in people listening and sharing and stuff like that. And we haven't been here in a couple months, so we're going to be back in here a little bit more. But please, just remind people that we're here. Yeah. If you have new people
with us,
if you have new people that might be interested in the podcast, share it with them. Like the podcast, comment. And we're going to be back hopefully with weekly episodes in the next couple weeks here.
Yeah. All right. Where can they follow you?
You can follow me at DannyGonzo34 on Instagram.
You can follow me at Ben9Humor, Ben9Humor, like benign tumor on Instagram, Twitter. You can follow our show at PRC Pod on Instagram and Twitter, and at PRC Podcast on TikTok. We're going to have a lot more clips now from the old episodes coming back up to try to build up some momentum into these new episodes that we're getting into that we promise we're going to do this time.
All right. Thank you, guys.
The pool is ready. We're back. All right. Thank you.
We'll see you.